Hello, JD.
Do you think God would need any defense? Do you think God would need human beings to defend himself? What kind of God needs human beings to defend him? But that is the silly Islam we have, and the silly Qur'an. And Muslims, a nice gentleman like this, who lives with a nice family and so on, have sold their souls for this. I said, at least 5 good reasons why not to follow this book. Reason number 1. Well, that's good also. So maybe that should be our introductory remark before I get to my 5 reasons. This book is full of hatred, full of immoral substance, and so on. That's the introductory remark. He says nonsense. Now, let me get to some, let's say, academic reasons. 5 reasons. Number 1, you take the book, you read through it. One thing you would immediately, please sir, don't go away. I'd really like you to consider. Okay. Well, that's classical brainwashing. Don't listen, because you might have to change your mind. That's not good. Okay. Reason number 1. When you read through this book, would you get any idea as to how this book was written, when it was written, and so on, historical context and so on? Do you get, sir, when you read the Quran?
Well, I just know that it was written by the Prophet Muhammad and it was compiled by Abu Bakr.
Very good. So he thinks this is written by Muhammad and compiled by Abu Bakr. Do you get that information in this book?
No.
Can you read that anywhere here? So where do you get that idea from? Which historical context?
From the history books.
Which books?
The one from National Geographic.
Which? National Geographic? Are you serious? What's going on here? Please come here. Please come here. I'll help you understand. Very good. What's your name?
Masato.
Masato,
Yes.
where are you from?
I'm Japanese.
Japanese, but a Muslim?
No.
Oh, you're not. Okay.
That's we can talk. That's why. Are you Hindu?
I am a Christian.
Oh.
I thought you were a Muslim.
No, I'm not.
So you don't defend this book.
I don't know anything about this book. I'm here to learn.
Okay, that's good. So please stay here. I'd also need help from some Muslim guys. Are you a Muslim, sir? You are. Please come here. What's your name, sir? Irfan? Fahad. Okay. Please let me know, if you need to understand the history behind this book, what sources do you access?
There is also the Hadith.
Good. Hadiths. Very good. Hadiths are one important source of information, aren't they? About the Quran. Now, in regards to the canonical, are you a Sunni Muslim, Shia Muslim? Sunni Muslim. In regards to the canonical Hadith sources, which is the earliest of the Hadiths we have access to today? When was it? Sahih al-Bukhari. And when was that written, sir?
About 100 years after the Prophet.
Not 100.
Sahih al-Bukhari.
Sahih al-Bukhari. After the Prophet, that's true. But when?
When was it written?
About 200 years after this book was written. So in other words, if you want, where do we get information about this person called Abu Bakr? Does the Quran record anything about Abu Bakr? Have you read anything about Abu Bakr in this book?
No, let me tell you.
No, before you tell.
Okay.
Have you read anything about Abu Bakr here? Sahih al-Bukhari comes 200 plus years later and tells you there was a guy called Abu Bakr. Why would you believe that?
How was this book made as well?
How was what?
How was it made?
How was this written?
Yes.
Well, we'll get to that.
I'll tell you. It's the same process as the Hadith. Huh? Everyone was telling everyone, and this guy was telling his.
No.
These Sahaba, they were telling each other, and it was made the same as the Hadith.
Fahad, no, we need to stick to some simple reasoning techniques right now. Very important. You cannot defend one fantasy idea by giving more fantasy ideas. It simply will not work.
Why is it fantasy?
Well, exactly. I'm going to there. That's where I'm going to get to the details.
What about John and the Bible?
No. What about anything else will come later.
I'm using the same argument.
Would you like to defend Islam or not?
Me?
Yep.
No, I'm not.
All right, okay, let's get. Do you have any other Muslim friends here who can defend along with you?
I mean, there's other people.
Please bring on your best resources. But you made a very important point earlier. The first reason as to why anyone sensible should not follow the Quran or take it seriously is because most of the things we know about the history of this book comes from a source which is 200 odd years later. Can you believe this nonsense? Can you believe this?
The Bible.
Can you ever believe?
Any of the disciples.
No. Yeah, no. Wait. Wait, one second. If you are accused of being a thief, and if you're standing in a court of law, let me tell you one important tip that you should not be doing. You can't stand there and say, hey, what about him? He's also a thief. That won't help you.
No, but you can't.
I'm now talking about the Quran.
You can't make
Defend your Quran first, and then I'm going to talk about my great Bible, wonderfully secured in human history. Yes, sir.
Which Bible? Does it include Baruch? Does it include Tobit? Does it include the Bell and the Dragon?
We will come to that in a bit, please. Thank you. But that's a very good point. We'll come to that in a bit. So first reason, every Muslim, including Farhad, what is the first reason why you would not take this book seriously? That is, most of the historical background to this book comes from 200 odd years later.
Yeah, but it's a chain.
Only a child.
It's a chain.
What chain?
It's a chain of narrations.
What chain of narration?
So this Sahabi or someone that's seen the Prophet.
No. Listen to me carefully.
Yes.
Whether Abu Bakr lived or not, we haven't got a clue. There is no early source. Now, tell me, if you were to talk about the Sahaba, what is the earliest available resource for that?
Sahih al-Bukhari, I told you, and all of these.
In other words, you use the same fantasy, turn to another page and say, wow, suddenly now I am history. Can you believe what he did?
Listen, I'll tell you.
I am saying that he cannot use the same book, Sahih al-Bukhari, which was written 200 odd years later, to understand about this book. Simply would not cut the chase. But he had a solution to that challenge that I raised. He says, turn to another page of Sahih al-Bukhari and that would help. Do you see the silliness of the argument?
I'll tell you how Sahih al-Bukhari made it. He asked this brother.
No. Sahih al-Bukhari, I'm not asking you how he wrote the nonsense he wrote.
Then how?
I'm just asking, when did he write the nonsense? And you and I agree, 200 odd years later.
Yeah, so how did he make this? He went to people who have seen the Prophet and
He went to people, wait.
after the Prophet.
Sahih al-Bukhari, where did he go to meet anyone who lived during the time of Muhammad?
He traveled and seen people who know who.
Okay, now let's do the mathematics. 200 odd years later. If you, let's say, just imagine who in your family ancestry lived 200 odd years earlier.
I don't know.
Maybe your great-grandfather. Can you go anywhere in this world today to meet someone who lived with him?
I'll go his children.
No. Can you go anywhere today to meet someone who lived with him as adults? Anyone?
People who were after him. People who were after him.
So, okay, let me ask you this. Sahih al-Bukhari, who did he meet? Where?
All the people that wrote the hadith down.
How do you know this?
What do you mean?
Were you part of that meeting?
No, I wasn't there.
Taking minutes of the meeting?
No, I wasn't there.
Was there anyone else who was part of the meeting, taking minutes of the meeting?
Now?
Well, anyone during his time.
Yes, of course.
Sahih al-Bukhari suddenly said, I have a book, a wonderful book.
Okay, let me tell you.
Who did he meet? No one has a clue.
Okay, can I tell you?
Where did he go to meet anyone? No one has a clue.
So,
You can't add clueless information or on top of each other.
You're making a claim that this was written by a man, right?
I am making a claim that no one should follow this book.
Because it was written by that man, you say it's written by a man.
No one can
Then
even.
who wrote this book?
This book is pretty much useless. I'm talking.
Who wrote it? Aman? You believe it's Aman?
Okay, let me tell you. So we will come to surmising who could have written this a bit later. But did you understand? No, stick to. Did you understand my first point?
What's your point?
Any level of historical context for this book comes from 200 odd years later.
Yes.
This is very important to understand. You depend on a source who could not have had information about the context in which this was written, giving you all sorts of fantasy ideas, and you, people like you, have just said, yes sir, and taken it on board.
I've read this book.
Read which book?
This book you have in your hand.
Okay, read from this book. Tell me a few things about Abu Bakr.
Why do you talk about Abu Bakr?
Because that's the Sahaba you care about.
Why is this the only person you talk about? If this was written by a man, how could he predict all of this stuff?
Predict what? Predict what nonsense?
He predicted all this stuff.
Where is any prediction in this book? Show me one prediction in this book.
Let me tell you something.
No, don't tell me something. Say, tell me one prediction in this book.
I'll tell you.
Was Mary a virgin? Is that scientifically proven?
What's that, sir?
Was Mary a virgin? Is that scientifically proven?
So, are you a Muslim, sir?
I am Muslim.
Do you have a hearing issue, sir?
I don't have a hearing.
Now, we were talking about the Qur'an, sir.
Yeah, but I think you've got fantasy.
Do you have a question? Do you have an answer to the question I'm asking, sir? In other words, you don't have.
The prediction got Surah Al-Mu'mineen.
Problem number 2.
Yes.
I mentioned already there is one problem.
Let me tell you the prediction.
Yes, sir.
See Surah Al-Mu'mineen. Which page? Surah
While you take the prophecies that you care about, problem number 2 of following the Quran. The problem is the hadith sources that he cares about.
Yes.
There is no evidence to suggest that these hadith sources were widely in circulation at the time they were written down. There is no evidence whatsoever. In other words, even people who lived during the time of Sahih al-Bukhari and so on, there is no evidence. Do you know about the manuscriptal evidence for Sahih al-Bukhari, sir?
I don't. I mean, I don't know a lot of historical
Do you-
evidence, but you standing on
How blind are you, sir?
someone else.
How blind are you, sir? Well, he can't find what he wanted to find in the Quran. That's really tragic.
Surah Al-Mu'mineen. Show me Surah Al-Mu'mineen.
No.
The book is in English. I don't know English.
Well, unfortunate. So, problem number 2. Fahad, this is very important. The problem I'm talking about right now, Sahih al-Bukhari.
Yes.
Have you studied the manuscriptal evidence available to back up the historicity of the wide circulation
Of course
of
not.
Sahih
I
al-Bukhari?
tell you, I'm not able to talk about this because I didn't read all of this stuff.
Okay.
How it was made.
In other words,
Yes.
you
Only
haven't
someone else, you say.
you haven't explored the history behind this book.
No, I know that it was written.
Now,
Listen.
Go on.
It was so the prophet, angel Gabriel, he told the prophet about the words of Allah, and then the prophet told the Sahaba, and they memorized little surah, and then.
Farhad, this is the problem I have.
What's the problem?
When I ask you a question as to how this was written, he gives me a whole. Don't listen to this gentleman. He has a habit of keeping his brain at home and showing up here. Don't listen to him.
This is shaitan.
This is look at me, shaitan. Good. Shaitan asks him questions. You know, anyone who asks questions about Islam is shaitan, according to him. According to him. If you intend to employ your brain to any level, don't listen to him. Because his suggestion is, don't face questions, walk away. Look at his advice.
I'm not. You're gonna ask him a question. When I ask you a question, you don't want to answer.
Good. So now come again.
He can't answer anything. This is empty. Yeah. All he's got.
Who wrote the Quran down for the first time and when, sir?
He keeps on asking the same question.
Excuse me, sir. Who wrote the Quran down for the first time and when?
Several times, and in fact, He's one of the people who answered it.
This guy?
Yeah, answer
This guy?
This guy,
Can you see?
This
you are
guy.
insipid. You
This
can't
guy.
debate.
Yeah?
You can't. I know you can't
guy.
debate.
You keep on.
This guy.
Nice beard. Nice beard. Good. All right.
Can I ask
This
you?
is a man.
Challenge.
This is a man.
Farhad, do you see what he is doing? Bro, challenge number 3. Challenge number 3.
Okay, this is Bible. Have you read your Bible? Hold
The
on.
third reason, my dear, are you Muslims, friends?
No, look at me. Have you read your Bible? Have you read your Bible? You see,
The third reason as to why
my Quran.
no one sensible should take this book seriously is this.
You see,
The very hadith sources you depend on, the very hadith sources you depend on are self-contradictory. Let me ask you this, sir.
debate. You can't.
If you depend on the hadith sources to understand the history of the book,
Do you want to debate?
the hadith sources on one page,
Do you want to
The
debate?
history
can't
has been
debate.
explained
Don't
to
push
you
me, don't push me.
Time and time
Good, good,
again.
good. Don't
Time
push
and
me.
Time again. It's been
the
explained
very
to you
hadith
time
sources
and time again.
on one page
Time and time
tell
again.
you
Yeah, and it won't
that
go
this
into your
book,
head.
for the first time,
Can't enter
was
this
written
head,
down
because this head-
before Muhammad passed away.
Is that true, Uncle?
You see, this man here.
On one page, it says before Muhammad passed away.
He can't debate.
Well, stay awake,
About the Quran and the Bible.
flip through a few more pages, and the same hadith sources will get confused, and they will tell you
130 gods to 3.
Let's have a proper debate. I'll
130
expose you.
gods to 3.
No.
3.
You know
Can you answer
Three.
simple questions, sir?
No answer.
When was the Quran written down for the first time?
Answered several times.
When was the Quran written down for the first time? Was it? Was it
Another one
during?
who's answered this
I answered
question.
last
Yeah?
time. Why
You
you
go
repeat the
here.
same thing?
You have a selection.
He's mentally sick, this guy.
This one
Wallahi,
here, he's been answered.
You have a selection of experts here.
He's been
Don't waste your
answered.
time.
If you want to have
Even
a debate with some tea, go for
still
him.
won't enter his head.
With his tea towel could help you.
He's a liar. This
If you want to have a debate,
He's mentally
get
sick.
it confused, not stringing together two meaningful statements, go with him. Now they're going to fight with each other. Now,
So what's the question? What's the question?
Sahih al-Bukhari,
Zakh al-Bukhari.
the same Sahih al-Bukhari says on one page that the Quran for the first time was put together even before Muhammad died. And on another page, unashamedly says that the first Quran was put together not during the time of Muhammad, but by Abu Bakr after Muhammad passed away. Sahih al-Bukhari himself, when he was cooking up his lies, was confused, could not decide for himself. Which of those lies do you believe in, sir?
Not the ones you're speaking.
All right,
Answer my question.
I can,
Answer my question,
excuse me, sir.
You said the Quran.
Prove to me that you use a brain and then we'll talk about it, sir.
This guy is a liar. He's lying about the
All right.
Hadith. So now,
Can I answer you?
you want to answer or shall I answer?
I don't know.
All right. So my question, I will give you one opportunity.
I think he takes drugs.
These three clowns between themselves
He takes drugs.
would have one opportunity to respond to me. If you respond in any sensible manner, I might listen further. Question, sir.
So I'm asking. I want him to answer my question.
Aha.
You said the Quran
Go
was
somewhere else.
combined. Listen,
I'm
this
not
guy
taking a tea
is
break right now.
But he's not answering. Prove from the hadith that the Quran was combined
All right.
in one book before the Prophet
Like I
passed away.
said, I will give you one opportunity between all the clowns here, the Islamic clowns. Was the first Quran put together? Listen to my question. Was the first Quran put together before Muhammad died? As Sahih. I haven't finished my question. Was the first Quran put together before the time of Muhammad's passing away, as Sahih al-Bukhari 5019 says, or was the first Quran put together after Muhammad died by Abu Bakr, as Sahih al-Bukhari 4986 says? Because Sahih al-Bukhari is confused. He doesn't know what happened in history. And so clearly I understand. All right, answer. Answer.
You listen.
Let him answer. Let him answer. Let him answer.
You listen.
Calm down now.
You listen.
Let him answer.
Okay.
Don't have brain, that's all
Okay.
shouting.
Listen, everyone here. Yeah?
Answer. How many of you want an answer? Because good.
Ask him to be quiet.
Sahih al-Bukhari 5019 or 4986. Yes.
You speaking as a bitch, man. You want to lose your virginity? Listen. You want to lose your
No
virginity?
answer. Can you see? No answer.
He keeps talking. Stop speaking like a
Look at his fancy head coverings. Doesn't help him. Answer.
Listen, yeah.
Any answer.
Shall I ask him to be quiet, please? Ask him to be quiet. He's speaking like a man. He wants to lose his virginity. That's why he's speaking. He's sick in the
Bit
head.
confused. Any answer?
Now I'm here to expose his lies, yeah?
Yeah, go on.
Everyone here. Yeah, I'm facing here. So now he's
Sahih al-Bukhari 5019.
501, yeah? Hold on.
5019.
I'm going to 501. I'm exposing his lies, yeah? Yeah, 5019.
5019.
Okay, 5019.
Before Muhammad died.
Okay.
4986 after Muhammad died.
Hold on.
Which part of Sahih al-Bukhari is wrong?
Let him answer.
Five.
You have gone quiet now.
Say the
He has gone quiet already. Can you see? Go.
You ask him. Ask him to repeat the reference. Repeat the
All right.
Five.
Siraj hasn't been hearing properly. I can repeat again. 5019 tells us before Muhammad died, at the point of death, there was a Quran. 4986 says, even after the time of the death, there was no Quran. Abu Bakr put it together for the first time. Which one do you choose?
5019.
You don't know numbers, brother.
509. 5019. Here it says. Here, like, look here. It says the Arab. Let me read the Arabic first.
He's only reading now, and he already answered before even reading.
Okay, here 5019. It doesn't talk about when the Quran was written down.
All right, can I read to you? Because this liar would lie all day long. Read it, please. Read it, please.
Shaddad ibn Ma'qil, and I entered upon Ibn Abbas. Shaddad ibn Ma'qil asked him, did the Prophet ﷺ leave anything besides the Quran? Okay, he replied, he did not leave anything except what's between the two bindings.
Between the two bindings.
Then we visited Muhammad ibn al-Hanafiya and asked him the same question. He replied, the Prophet ﷺ did not leave except what is between the bindings.
And then what? Wow. Look at
liar.
All right. The mafia.
You're right, you lie. The mafia. You're a liar. Liar here, look. Liar. Look, Arul the liar is here. You are what do you
The
like?
mafia of jokers have taken over. Let me read to you.
Only for pizza.
All right. Let me.
We want a debate.
Let me read to you.
The Bible or the Quran? No.
How many of you want to know what the Hadith actually says? How many of you want to know what the Hadith actually says?
Can you debate?
How many?
He's scared. No. You're scared. I'm not good.
How many of you?
He's scared. No, he's lying. No, is that the books are here?
How many
You believe in
of
that?
you?
We believe in the Quran. Let's debate.
Liar, stop lying again.
The Bible or the Quran?
Go land before you open your mouth.
All right.
Can't debate.
There is a mafia infestation in the park.
Hands on fire.
How many of you here today would want to know what the Hadith? Stay away. Stay away. Stop.
You're right.
Stay away.
What are you doing, man?
Okay, wait. Look. We want a proper proper debate. No.
The jokers have triggered.
Which is the word of
mafia.
God? He's scared. By the time I finish with him,
All right.
he will wet his pants.
Let me read to
He's a
you.
liar. No.
Let me read to you
No.
what the Hadith.
Let's debate. No, Siraj.
Let me read to you.
You're a liar. You're a liar. Let's debate. You say you're allowed to come. I'm allowed on you. No, Lami. Can you debate? Can you debate?
There has been a bit of a noise pollution in the park. Let's ignore that for a moment. And let's read Sahih al-Bukhari. Sahih al-Bukhari 5019. What does it actually say? The joker Siraj did not read to you what Sunnah.com.
They're scared because I exposed them. They haven't studied their Bible. None of them. From Genesis to Revelation.
Joker.
That don't include me.
You can't debate.
That don't include me.
Excuse me.
That don't include me.
Can you debate?
The joker
Can you debate?
Siraj.
Look at this stupid moral against.
Did you see what happened?
When Mansour are talking, do you stop? You follow them and you follow
Did you see what happened earlier to him?
Yeah. Liar.
And
Look at his face. Look at his face.
when I asked the question about the Hadith,
Look at them.
Lamin
Look at the license.
went behind. Lamin was hiding, and so was the other Islamic gentleman. Now he showed up again. So let us read what Siraj. Let us read what Siraj did not read earlier. What does Sahih al-Bukhari 5019 say? It says, he replied, he did not leave anything except what is between the two bindings. And Sunnah.com clarifies within bracket of the Quran, the two bindings of the Quran. Then we visited Muhammad bin al-Hanafiya and asked him the same question. He replied, the Prophet did not leave except what is between the two bindings of the Quran. What it means is, Abdul Aziz bin Rufai, according to Sahih al-Bukhari, tells you that by the time Muhammad died, he already left behind a book with two bindings, between which you have the Quran. You have been told, Please read that if you want.
A complete book.
A book between two bindings, which is what you call the Quran.
Right.
Sahih al-Bukhari 5019. Very clear. At the time, Sahih al-Bukhari 5019. By the time Muhammad died, there was a Quran with two bindings. Siraj did not read what Sunnah.com tells you. In contrast, Sahih al-Bukhari 4987 says that Abu Bakr put together the Quran. In other words, my dear friends, I gave you already a few reasons as to why anyone sensible should not be following the Quran. One of those reasons is that even your Islamic resources are confused as to when the Quran was written down.
So in one hadith says it was completed, and the other hadith says it wasn't completed.
Exactly.
So which hadith says that it wasn't completed?
4987 tells you
4987.
Sahih al-Bukhari 49, the same writer of history.
Okay.
What's that? I'm speaking about Quran. Please come in.
Can I take
Absolutely. Let's have this conversation. Yeah. Please come in. So,
I'm not a part of conversation.
No problem.
Only I want to hear you.
okay, that's fine. So, are you a Muslim, sir?
Yeah.
What's your name?
Yeah, Muhammad.
Muhammad, great to meet today.
Thank you very much.
So, I was actually giving to the crowd earlier a number of reasons as to why anyone sensible like you should not be following the Quran. The Quran that you follow as a Muslim, we find out is a very unreliable resource. I am not even talking about whether this came from God. It's very clear this could not have come from God, but I'm not even talking about that. I am saying this is so unreliable that no one knows who wrote this down. No one knows. And that is where the latest point I was trying to make is, you know Sahih al-Bukhari?
Yeah.
Sahih al-Bukhari, Hadith, yeah. One of the 6 canonical Hadith sources.
So which hadith says that it wasn't completed?
4987. So I am I'm giving references here. Sahih al-Bukhari has 2 Hadiths. 5019 says, when Muhammad died, there was already a Quran. And he even describes the Quran as content between 2 bindings. Sahih al-Bukhari 5019. 4987 says, no, there was no Quran. So in other words, the very sources of history of the Quran, namely the Hadith sources, 4987. The very sources tell you, the very sources we understand are confused about the Quran. Do you see my point there? 2 contradictory accounts about when the Quran was written down. Which one do you choose?
The reasonable one.
Which one?
The one which is near to the reason, to the.
Which one would that be?
If we confuse between two version, you mean between the 2 hadiths?
Yep. Sahih al-Bukhari 5019 versus Sahih al-Bukhari 4987. 2 contradictory hadiths. Which one would you choose?
The most authentic one. We can look on the chain of Sahaba, of companions.
No. Bear in mind. So if you
mean the text, the matan, and
no. Well, okay. Let's say the Sahaba, yeah. So if I were to name a few Sahaba, Abu Bakr, Uthman, Umar, yeah.
I mean the reporters of hadith.
I know. Okay.
Whom they are mentioned in the hadith.
Cool. So if I were to ask you, which is the earliest source of information for you in regards to, let's say, Uthman? Which is the earliest source of information? Do you understand my question?
Yeah.
Which is the earliest?
I guess not. Maybe we look at the level of man who report the hadith. For example, if he is tabi'i or sahabi, we will look first on what sahabi reports.
So let me ask you this. Do you, when you read the Quran,
Yeah.
Do you find any information about Uthman,
No, at all. No.
Abu Bakr, Ali?
Maybe some illusions, but
Maybe.
not.
They're not mentioned by name. Ali? None of them recorded here.
Okay, sorry.
So none of these you have information about in the Quran.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so the Quran doesn't tell you who the Sahabas are. If there were Sahabas, we haven't got a clue. Not from the Quran. So then you fast forward. If you don't get information about the Sahabas in the Quran, where do you go to get information about them?
Hadith.
Exactly.
Details for more details.
The Hadith sources are the primary sources of information corresponding to the Sahaba. But the Hadith themselves are accused right now.
Yeah.
If a person is an accused murderer, yeah, you know the court of law, if someone is an accused murderer, can you go and ask him, please tell us, we don't have information about what happened there. Can you please give us information? We will use that in the court proceedings. Can you do that?
No.
Of course you wouldn't. He is an accused. You understand me?
Yeah.
He can lie his whatever. He can lie all the way along to make him look as if he is a truth teller. Yeah. Sahih al-Bukhari is an accused person. Because on the one hand, he says the Quran was already one book by the time Muhammad died, 5019, Sahih al-Bukhari. On another, in another hadith, 4987, he indicates that the Quran wasn't one book at that time. So in other words, he is an accused person. He does not know. He is an accused. So we need to find out what really happened.
Accused by the shuyukh also,
By who?
as we say today, shuyukh, let's say teachers of Bukhari, no? Because we hear that this
Sahih
accusation-
al-Bukhari is the earliest of the canonical sources. There is no one earlier than him that we have access to today. There's no writing earlier than him we have access to. You understand my point?
Yeah.
He is the earliest of the writers, canonical, accepted by the Ummah. Yeah? There's no one earlier you could go to. No other teacher. Every other information which is claimed about what happened before him are claims that he propagates. But he himself stands as an accused.
Okay, so I will translate this part.
Sure.
And they come back. Okay.
Please come back.
It's very interesting. And
Yes.
I'm very glad to hear you. I will translate into
Absolutely.
Arabic. Take two, and they will be back.
But please come back.
Yeah,
because
inshallah.
this is an important question.
Thank you very much.
You need to, Muhammad, you need to leave Islam. Is that your relative? That's, yeah. So she needs to leave Islam. Yeah.
No, she is Muslim.
Yeah, but you need to leave Islam because, like I said, the history of Islam is under scrutiny. 4987. yeah. The history of Islam.
Let me just translate into Arabic.
And then come, yeah. So, my dear friends, like I've said before, the third reason as to why anyone sensible would not follow the Quran is that Sahih al-Bukhari is self-contradictory.
All right, so just to wrap up the thought, there's one hadith that says that the Quran was completed before the Prophet, another hadith says it wasn't completed after the Prophet.
Died.
That's it.
Died. Exactly. So Sahih al-Bukhari, we understand through these two hadiths, we understand he did not know history. You don't go to someone who has failed his history lessons to learn history. That's not something which is sensible. So that is the third reason, Charles, that anyone, if you know of anyone who is still following Islam, you need to tell them clearly, leave Islam if you were to use your brain. The fourth reason, my dear friends, is this. It is not just the fact that Sahih al-Bukhari contradicts himself, but it is also the fact that Sahih al-Bukhari contradicts the rest of artifacts that we have access to. Is there a bold Muslim who can come and defend this point with me here? You are a Muslim, my dear friend. Please come over. My dear Muslim, please come over. Are you Muslim, sir? Is there any Muslim who wants to defend this free load of nonsense? Any Muslim who wants to defend this book? Are you Muslim, sir? Any Muslim who wants to defend this book? Are you Muslims, my dear friends? No? Good. Any Muslim? Yes, sir. You please come over, sir. The defender of Islam, please come over, please. So the fourth point. What's that?
You're crazy. I had enough of you.
All right. Is that why you are staying away? As if you are afraid of questions.
He's afraid?
Of course. Are you Muslim, sir? Okay, please come over here. We're challenging the Quran. The fourth reason as to, please come over here.
So what's the question?
Where is your cow? Where are you watching the cow?
Please capture him. I'm talking about the Quran. He is considering his cows. Can you see how confused people are? You want to know where my cow is? All right.
Fucking goat cow. Where is your cow? Where is the fucking goat?
He wants to know.
Where is your cow? You watching the
He wants to know where my cow is. You want to know where my cow is? It is here.
Where is your cow?
Surah 2 Al-Baqarah. Cow.
Where is your Baqarah?
You want to know where the cow is? There is the cow. Any cow? There is the cow. Do you know of any other sensible book with chapters named as the cow? Please come over here. Please come over here.